Oh. Oh my God. Switch it. They'll come up, chomp it.
They see me tizzing. They hate it.
Do you fish? No. You know, people who don't fish think that fishing is lazy or boring, but it is the complete opposite. There are 100 little decisions to be made, variables to be considered, and you're never quite sure what made the difference. Did I cast too high, too far to the left? Did I reel it in too slow or too fast? Is the lure too shiny or too dull? Do I stay here or should I go over there? And you know it's not luck, but you do not know by how much. Because I am never, disappointed out here because I don't expect anything, because anything is possible. I can be hopeful out here, even in failure, because I know if I just go out there around that tree, it might be different. Something might be different. Something I do might make a difference.
Hell yeah! Angler's choice, baby! John Moore's, White River, Ranger, Triton, Nitro! Let's go, baby! Woo!
What the hell is even that? You're listening to Fishing the DMV with your host, Thomas Ahrens. Fishing the DMV is brought to you by Jake's Bait and Tackle, located in Winchester, Virginia.
If that doesn't get you jacked up, I don't know what will.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Monday Night Live. We are finally, I think, in really the spring season because daylight savings time is here. We got a little bit more time in the evening, and we just finished up our first BFL in our region of the Piedmont Division on the old Smith Mountain Lake. Earlier today, Brody's episode dropped. He had 2407, which before we kind of introduce all of our guests, we have a ton of people in the queue. We had a little thing that I think this is going to become a thing that we do where we just take little bets on what we think the weights are going to be in the big fish. And I nailed second place at 21.004. I was like 1 ounce off, but because I didn't no idea someone was going to catch a 24-pound bag. But we have a couple people here that actually figured it out. And then we had a couple other people that we were just the cheering section, and we had our own little adventures as well. So let me see. I guess the first person I'm going to introduce, you know him, you love him, Boyd Duckett Jr. I hopped in the boat with him. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Fantastic. And you're welcome for that promo there on the intro. Hopefully that can get some more sponsored dollars to the show. I've been talking to Dad, but you know, he's kind of hard to deal with. He's got that reputation in the industry, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Our next one on the panel, who did fish the BFL there, he had a really grind practice. He absolutely wins practice every time he goes, and he still is able to guts and nuts it in the event. Hunter, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. That was one of the best intros I've ever seen. I need you to get your flowers on that. That was killer.
I got to thank Boyd for that one. I really appreciate it.
Now, you know, I do what I can.
Now, I like how you're like dubbed too as well there, Boyd. It's kind of nice. And the next guest we have him. Some say he catches a dink just to know how it feels. He's going to take Matt Allen's job someday on Tactical Bassin. You know him. You love him. We got McJesus, a.k.a. McCluskey, a.k.a. Fish Whisperer. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me as an honorary member of the BFL boys.
No, absolutely. I really think our next guest is going to say, really, your pet pup on the boat probably helped
got the best hair on the BFL trail, I'll tell you right now.
That nobody will ever get to see again. Thanks.
Show it to him, baby.
No. We'll save that for the end.
And last, but certainly not least, he put on his big boy pants this past weekend, and he cracked out his first ever top 10, top 6, baby. 1811 at Smith Mountain Lake, which was absolutely a rainstorm. Matt of SB Fishing, how are you doing, sir?
Doing great. Happy to be here with the boys.
Yeah. And again, as always, ask a question, win a prize. Ask a question, win a prize. That's how this bad boy works. I'm thinking really to start us off, let's go back a week ago. This is everyone's first BFL of the year. We can go roundtable. What were your thoughts going into it?
I was rooting for the boys.
Okay, there we go.
That's a lot of thoughts bouncing around. Hey, everybody, calm down.
Only two.
I'll go. So I was pumped. I got 7th last year, so I figured same time of year, you know, pretty similar weather. I was expecting, you know, the same result, but that didn't happen. But that's all right. But I had probably one of the most fun practices I've ever had. Every day I caught big fish. But yeah, so I was very excited going into it, and practice was fun, but tournament was a little bit tougher. But yeah, a lot of high expectations going into it.
Why did you have such high expectation? Just because you did well there in the past?
And it's just Smith Mountain in March. I mean, you can't really set up a March tournament on a better lake than Smith Mountain in Virginia. I mean, it's going to take over 20 something to win, and to see 24 win, like, it's the ideal place to be in March, in my opinion.
It's the only redeeming quality of our BFL schedules.
Well, the other redeeming quality is you had a chance to break your curse that every time you go to Smith Mountain Lake, something breaks.
Yeah, and I didn't break that curse.
I was going to say.
Because it's funny, like, as long as I've known you, I think you've only had, one tournament that there wasn't an issue. But the flip side is, if anything broke on my boat, I just have to sink the damn thing because I couldn't fix shit. I don't even know where spark plugs go in my big engine, let alone all the stuff you deal with.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it back to weigh-in. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm gonna figure out how to get back to weigh-in at some point.
Matt, what were your thoughts going into this thing?
I just wanted to do better than I did last year. I had a pretty decent practice last year, and I ended up with like one fish. I caught a 5-pounder in the first 30 minutes of the day, and then I didn't catch another. So
Hey, I don't know what that's like.
But I knew it was going to be a good event. I figured it would be. Practice was really good. The weather's been pretty warm this year. I felt good about it. Granted, leading up to tournament day was like just the shittiest weather you could ask for, like a high of 50, and I think we got like 1.5 inches of rain or something. So I knew we'd have to do a little pivoting on tournament day, but yeah.
And for the people that are probably going to ask us in the comment section, those are the only two that fished the tournament. Phil and I's job there was to drink and destroy the house, and then we took out his boat just to do a little roughing.
So good at my job. So good at my job. Yep. We ripped it out in the Gambler. Got Tommy on his first ever glide fish, which was sick.
That was a special moment.
And about 2 hours later, I was too hungover to function, so we brought it back in. I caught a 4.5 pounder on the taxi trout glide on Thursday. Man, that was a crazy day. I saw so many fish pulling up super shallow, chasing gills around. Like it was springtime. And then the next day, just everything collapsed and back to early March. But I had a blast.
The craziest thing about that day was seeing two things stood out to me fishing with you. One is how you were pulling striper off of laydowns and how you changed from pale white to color in your face like in 5 minutes. It looked like you were going to die.
Well, yeah, that's two separate conversations. But contrary to popular belief, stripers do like to hold off of swings with laydowns on them. So, I don't know. That's about all I got. I don't have much to offer this podcast, so hopefully people ask some questions or something. As far as the actual tournament and the week went, drank some beer and burned some gas.
Well, I mean, if we're going to talk about that, and then McCluskey, how did you fit into? How the hell did you end up there? Honestly, I don't think people know this.
I'm working down in Roanoke, so it just kind of timed up perfectly where you guys were coming down, and I came over and fished with Matt for a couple hours on Thursday and chilled at the Airbnb. But unfortunately, I couldn't fish the tournament. I would have tried to jump in as a co at least if I had been in town this last weekend. But went up to Deep Creek Lake this weekend and rooted you guys on, and now I'm back down here.
So the first thing I want to throw out to everyone here, since it's interesting actually having a house to practice with when you go into these events, whether it was this, High Rock last year, Kerr. How do you maximize practicing when you have a group of people you're going down with? And I'm really going to be putting this towards Hunter and SB, but anyone else chime in. Like, do you guys work together or do you guys just not talk like an old married couple? Like, how does that work?
SB and I we talk the whole time. Yeah, we're pretty much, and I had someone ask me about this today. It's like, you have to have, it's a delicate situation because a lot of things can go wrong when you're sharing, everything. But I know Matt and I trust each other, and I mean, it's literally, we wanted to start on the same exact dock, and we're both like, no, you take it. No, you take it. Like that's just how we are. And both want to see each other succeed. So we definitely work together a lot, and it usually works out pretty well.
What? So you guys are sharing the same dock? I mean, it's a 30,000 acre lake. Like, how does that work?
Well, this is what was funny. Like, neither of us mentioned where we'd found these fish, and then oh wait, no, that's not how it went. So I fished this stretch, and I'm fishing a glide bait, and there's I'm really not trying to catch anything. I'm just like casting along docks and seeing where I'm pulling fish off of, not trying to catch them, but I'm also like I'll rip the glide bait away and then slowly creep it to see if I can bring the fish up to the boat so I can just see them with my eyes without live scope. And this one dock I pulled up on, I had 4 4-pounders follow the glide, and I'm like, okay, there's giant fish right here. Just they're gonna be here. And maybe like 2 or 3 hours later, I get a text from Hunter saying, "Hey, can I come meet you real quick? I need you to get a picture of this fish for me." Or can you come meet me rather? And he sends me his pin, and then I didn't really look at it. He ended up coming to meet me, and then I looked at his pin later, and I was like, no way. Literally caught that 5.5-pounder off of the dock that I moved those 4 4s off of with the glide. And I was like, dog, that's crazy. I can't believe we both just stumbled upon this spot. And the whole stretch was good. I moved those 4 big ones, and then I like kept fishing down. Then I switched to a mag draft. Like I pinned one that was 4, and I had a couple other bites on it, and I was like, okay, I'm leaving this alone. And then come to find out, Hunter fished the same stretch, and that's where he caught a good one. Both of us were like, well, we both want to fish this stretch. So what did we come up with? I was like, I'll start here, you start there, and we'll just meet in the middle.
Yep, that was the plan.
It seemed fair to me. I mean, you were able to hit the ones you really wanted to hit. I was able to hit or start on the one I really wanted to hit. And if you were like, I really want it, I didn't really care.
Yeah, exactly. If Matt would have been like, I really want to start and fish this whole stretch, I've been like, yeah, no problem. Like I'll go somewhere else, or I'll come back after you, or I'll not fish at all. Like it wasn't. That's just trusting your teammate and trying to work together so you both end up successful.
So let's say day one, did one of you say like, I'm going to go up, Hunter, you're going to go down, and you guys met in the middle, or was it just by happenstance you all met in the same area? Because like just to make sure that way you can network on what they're doing in different parts. Like you got Blackwater area, the Roanoke, like it's a big lake, and they can do multiple things depending on where you're at.
We kind of just went fishing. We were both kind of planning on fishing the same areas anyways, so it was mostly just go fishing and we'll talk and figure out how to expand on stuff that we find. We didn't really like limit ourselves to anything. Like I'll go here, you go there. We did a little bit later in the week, but it was more just go fishing and just share whatever we find and see, if we can expand on it.
And as always, guys, ask a good question, and win a prize. So you guys got there like 3 a.m. on Wednesday. Going into, I think Thursday, if my brain's still working, it went up to like 75 degrees and sunny. And when I went out, there were a couple on beds. What were your guys' thoughts each day of practice? Were you like, yeah, this makes sense? Or were there any curveballs going into Friday and Saturday?
I'd say curveball would be Saturday for sure. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was pretty straightforward. And I mean, finding fish was easy. Catching them, or I wasn't even trying to really catch them. I was just trying to see them. But catching a few here and there too. And Friday, I was catching them, flipping a jig in like 2 feet of water, but all in the same kind of areas. I was fishing just main lake guts and like the first third of creeks, and like really focusing on those first set of docks and the shallow areas of it. And all the fish were pushed up pretty shallow. Like I don't think I caught a fish over like 6 feet.
Damn, that's crazy.
They were shallow.
In the tournament?
No, in the first or the third Friday of practice.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
100 same.
I caught a few like scoping. I caught one like my first cast scoping over like 45 feet, like off a bluff, and caught a few like scoping out on points. But yeah, primarily I was up shallow, skipping a jig, skipping a swim bait. but a few like random scope fish here and there. But yeah, everything was primarily shallow.
With that said, when you have them all dialed into that shallow, and let's just say hypothetically, and you can chime in if this is incorrect, you're seeing them, your primary pattern is shallow, let's say between 5 to 0 feet, and then Saturday happens. Did you have to completely nuts and guts and change Saturday morning when you woke up, or did you already start thinking about the change, Friday evening? And if you guys don't know, if you're living under box, it pissed about 7 inches of rain in like, I don't know, a couple hours. I mean, Phil's boat was sunk, and you could just see the Coors Light cans floating in the middle of it. It was bad.
It wasn't sunk, but it was full.
Gamblers don't sink.
No, they don't. That bilge pump was working overtime. I was finding cans from last summer.
I don't even remember what the question was.
From my my epic bluegill guiding trips that I was running.
Your trash can, though, is like infinite. You really need to like plug that thing off.
No. That's one of the best features of the boat. You can't get that on a White River boat.
Hey.
Oh, my bad. I forgot what team I was on. I can't get any sponsorship dollars from Gambler now because they're defunct. So, Johnny, bang my line, baby. Let's talk.
We're going to circle back to that. We have a couple of good questions here. Ricky Falk says, "What is the water temp at Smith?"
Lowest was
Which
48,
day?
highest was 54.
54.
Yeah.
You say the highest?
I thought you saw 58 back in a creek somewhere.
No, that was Thomas and Billy.
That's right.
Yeah, we saw
That's
it.
right.
It was like 57.9 or 58. I forget. It
Mhm.
was high. I think the highest I saw was like 54.
Yeah.
We were in the dirt,
Yeah,
though. We were
same.
way back in the dirt.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Russ Hamilton. Russ, Coors is going to be Phil's main sponsor this year.
I guarantee it.
Give him a
I'd back
shout.
That'd be awesome.
They're just down the road in Elkton.
We got Brandon. Brandon has a good question. Can you practice with just your scope? That's actually an interesting question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you definitely can. I mean,
I
that's
can't.
basically what I was doing, but I was still casting. I feel like want to see what I pull off here.
Let's give MC the floor.
I will say one thing that I figured out with the scope, and I know me and Matt were talking about it. There was a lot of fish that they would disappear. Like you'd be following them and they'd go to the bottom and they would sit on the bottom and you could not find them with your scope. Like that's how I was catching a lot of my fish in the tournament, which we'll get to. But yeah, there was a lot of fish that they were on the bottom and you could not see them with scope.
That was interesting, and this will give the floor for McCluskey. When we went out, I think it was like New Year's Day. That was a big difference when you're telling me how largemouth set up versus when you got to see the smallies, where they would be like literally locked on the bottom on a rock until you threw your drop shot or whatever at them, and then they would shoot up. But you were mentioning something about how you scope with practice, right?
Well, scoping in practice is, I mean, you can make casts at fish and not catch them. So in that aspect it's good for practice, and you can see how they react to baits and kind of game plan going into the tournament, what you're going to do. But like 100% and you and I that day, like you can throw a bait on a rock and not see the fish, and then all of a sudden 3 of them come off of it. Like when they're glued to the bottom, you're not going to see them very good. But I mean, just scoping down the bank, you can kind of like what Matt and I saw. It's like you're going to see a group of fish, but they're going to be in 3 to 5 feet of water. And like you can kind of concentrate on like, okay, there's a bunch of fish over there. Let me go run to the next place and see if I can see this. So you can definitely scope helps a ton practicing. There's no doubt.
When it comes to like how many fish you want to stick, I mean, Hunter, you usually try to bring in at least 30 pounds for the camera. Is that generally what you like to do? Or do you like to bend your hooks out and shake them off? Like how many do you want to stick in an area before you're like, I'm not going to beat up this dock anymore?
This was a special circumstance because I have been working on a boat. I had been knee deep in my boat for the past probably, 8 hours. So when I got out and they bit, I gave it to them. And I cracked them. Like I had to stop myself. Like I literally went to the house early because I was like, everywhere I go, I catch a big one. But yeah, normally I will stick like probably one in an area, just to kind of get a sense of like what kind of size I'm working with. Because you can see them on the scope and think they're big ones, and you catch one, it's like a 12-incher, and then you're screwed on tournament day. So I'll definitely stick a few, and then I'll either just kind of see if I can get some more bites, shake them off, or I'll put something on the hook so they can't get hooked and stuff like that. But yeah, this was a special circumstance. I needed to get a bass in the boat.
You know what's interesting is like when I was I was out with Billy just messing around, is we kept pulling up and we were just fishing some deep fish just because I wanted to hook something, and a couple of times they looked like really good returns and they were acting like bass, and when we finally started to stick them, they were like almost a 2-pound crappie.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, can crappie and something like that just get kind of mess with you mentally how they set up? I know smaller ones act a certain way, but do you ever get curious about like, okay, are these actually bass I'm seeing? Do I need to like adjust things like just to make sure that the school that you're looking at is legitimately fish? Or do you like scan it, be like, there's good ones set up here, I'm just going to leave them?
That was definitely something that I had trouble with. And I'm getting like a lot of times you just know it's a bass. You know how you just know it's bass. Like you can see them and they're set up like bass. And crappie definitely looked similar, but striper looked extremely similar, at least at Smith Mountain, to bass. And I found that out the hard way. So if I saw some that, I wasn't completely sure, I didn't like mentally like, oh, those are bass, I'm going to start here in the morning. Like I caught one to make sure it was a bass or a striper before I like factor that into my decision making.
That's big. That's really big. And we got a bunch of questions here that we're going to get through right now as we get through this day, and a couple of statements, because I know my wife gets upset when I say it's a question when it's a statement. Then it froze on Saturday. And then this is a question by Tim Missy. Did any of those bass follow the glide on Saturday?
Nope.
That was quick. All right, there we
I
go.
might have had like one fish follow the glide, but it wasn't. I could just tell it was not a thing that was going to happen.
Yeah, I threw
I didn't want to spend time, like waste time trying.
Generally, when it's pissing like that, they don't come up.
Yeah, it's
now
strange.
you tell me.
It's like you would think it would be the opposite.
Yeah, it never.
I've
spent entire days in rain and all kinds of rain, like light rain to rain that was worse than it was on Saturday. Like, shouldn't have been on the lake rain, and it never works as good as we think it is.
Yeah.
I don't try it anymore.
Well, Phil, why is it that one morning we woke up, well, I was awake, I feel like you were half dead, and we actually caught a few on a glide? Like, what happened?
It hadn't started yet.
What does that mean? What hadn't started?
It hadn't fully.
Oh.
It hadn't set in yet. Like
your hangover.
That either. The hangover didn't fully set in until probably 11 or 12 or maybe later. But I don't know. They bit like right up to the breaking point. Then once the clouds fully set in and started drizzling, we didn't move anything else. But we also, the spot that we hit after we fished, or the spots that we hit after we fished the spot you caught those fish in, didn't seem to have them. So, because we tried other things too.
Do you remember those spots?
Well, yeah, I was the one driving the boat.
Okay, I'm making sure. Yeah, that first spot was it. And your setup, though, dude, that thing is an intense freaking rod compared to mine. And that's actually, I think we have a question right there on swim baits. Let me make sure I pull that one up. We got another one from Tim. What's the glide bait setup everyone uses? Since everyone here but me is just getting on the swim bait craze. So,
depends what glide you're throwing. If you're throwing something that's like 6 inches, whatever, like ounce to 2 ounces, you can get away with a jigging stick, honestly, like a heavy jigging stick, like 7.5 foot, whatever, with 18-pound fluorocarbons, probably your best bet. Depends on the bait, but as a broad answer, that's what I would recommend. And then heavier, like the bait I was throwing was 4.5 ounces, and that was on an 8 foot, I believe, extra heavy. With a 2 to 8 ounce rating. It's a custom rod, so I don't remember the rating 100%, but
If I may cut you off, that was one interesting thing that you told me on the boat, which is I was always told, yes, 25-pound fluorocarbon, you're getting really up there. And you're like, hell, sometimes I throw it on 15. I don't know if you do that on purpose or what,
Yep.
but
No, I do.
What's the thought process there?
It's all about the right setup for the action. So like it depends what hooks I have on the bait. If I've got lighter hooks and it's a lighter bait and I want to get the best action out of it that I can, I'll drop down to like that really light line, that 15, 16, whatever. You don't want to go too light, obviously breaking off, but also it'll actually make the action worse. Like you do have to have some sort of like the right rigidity to keep it moving right. But yeah, once you get used to like casting these things and working them and everything, don't be afraid to drop down to like a lower line size that people might not be comfortable throwing. Because also too, like I'm rarely bomb casting these things. Like when you're fishing laydowns and docks like you are this time of year, you're just doing side pitches and flips and whatever. You don't. The only time you really have to worry about line breaking like that is when you're yanking back like a surf caster and loading that thing up and zinging it. That's when you start popping your fluorocarbon. So
yeah. Good point. Anyone else have a setup they use?
I got a few sticks. I run the IMX Pro. They've got a couple different models. I think they got a 8-foot heavy and an 8-foot medium heavy. So I've got both of those, one for like smaller stuff, one for a little bit bigger. And then X Pride, there's an 8-foot. I think it's an extra heavy, and it's really good for throwing those like 4-ounce plus stuff. I try to get rods that are rated a little bit heavier than what I'm throwing, because you can just be a little bit more accurate when it doesn't feel like the bait's like really overpowering the rod. You kind of
100%.
place it in the water a little bit quieter and be a little bit more, dialed when you're casting and stuff.
And we have another question I want to save here. Sorry, guys. Instagram still is not on StreamYard for some reason, so I just checked that. We have 15 people watching on Instagram, so I got some questions saved. Apologies. Phil, finish your thought.
I was going to say, let me add to that too before we move on. I know a popular option is Dobbins. Go a little bit heavier on the Dobbins. They're very underrated.
Yeah, but they have a lot of good actions for swim baits though, because most of their rods
for sure
have been pretty deep and just really parabolic on the swim bait rods. The 795 is money. The 806.
Yep.
I mean, he went nuts with the swim bait lineup.
Yeah.
What's your setup?
Make a good frog rod too. Just saying.
I wish they had longer handles, but that's just a personal thing.
Really? Even longer than they are?
They're not that long to me.
Ooh, I bet not.
I got long arms, dude. Like tucking that thing.
That's fair.
Yeah.
It only
he looks like Slender Man in the boat, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like retracting
like I said,
the butt, honestly.
Some guys like the shorter handle. Like it's just up to what you like.
Mm.
Yeah.
They just feel awkward to me for some reason.
What size line do you feel comfortable swinging it on? Like swinging them into the boat?
20.
Yeah.
20.
With a big swim bait.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. We got a question here. Guys, and you can answer on Instagram. It doesn't show up, so I can't show it over here. So I'll just tell it. Colin B Fishing. Did you all fish the Roanoke Blackwater or the lower end?
We're in the Roanoke.
Yeah. I stayed in Roanoke the whole time. I never left.
Well, that's because we were going to that Mexican restaurant. Remember, Phil, down there, and then we didn't go in there.
I did more fishing than that, but yeah. I did go way upriver on Thursday, check some stuff out, but
yeah, I caught a lot of my fish in the Roanoke in practice, and tournament I ended up running down around the ramp. But yeah, there's a few bass in the Roanoke.
I've been fishing the mouth of the Blackwater, but there's fish everywhere in the lake.
There is, yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Like
that's why I practiced on Wednesday when we got there, I went into Craddock and like I just fished a bunch of main lake points that I found on Google Earth that had like just a ridiculous amount of stumps. Like if you find it, this Google Earth photo I was looking at where the lake was low, it's like hundreds of stumps on these points, and they were just loaded with smallmouth. And they're shallow
were they?
too. They're in like 6 feet of water. So I just jumped around there a bunch, like up in Craddock and then the mouth of the Blackwater. But ended up running up the Roanoke, and that just felt better.
What made it feel better?
Big fish.
Bigger fish. Yeah, I caught better fish up there. I got better bites. I was seeing more of like what I wanted to see. The water was slightly dingier.
Okay.
I call it dingy, but I feel like everywhere on Smith Mountain is like it's clean, like it's clear water. It's just slightly like has a slight tinge to it compared to like the further down.
It's like a heavier mineral stain, I would call it.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Damn, Phil.
Nailed it.
Look, when you don't have any sort of graphs, when you're rolling Fred Flintstone like me, you gotta be, you gotta have something to make up for it.
You are the graph.
I am the graph, which is also why I didn't leave the Roanoke. Just keep me in a straight line, more or less, as much as you can on that windy lake.
No, since two of you have fished the Res once or twice, would you say the water you looked for kind of matched that?
Way cleaner than anything. I mean, unless you go way up Bull Run and it's been clean for a while. Like, Maddie, what's the closest thing that you could compare to it?
Way up Bull Run. Like when you get by the bridges, like way up the arms, it's almost cleaner there than it is at Smith Mountain sometimes. But I mean, Mooney would be similar probably.
Yeah.
I think Mooney would probably be a similar water clarity. It's weird though. It almost looks like ocean, like the Caribbean water. It's like teal colored down by the dam. It's cool.
Yep.
That's freaking awesome. And then we got another really, really good question here. Let me pull this bad boy up. This is actually going to be a hot one. Here we go. We got Jess. Jess has, and you just want a gift card to Tiger Crankbaits. Message me after the show, and I will send you your gift card to Tiger Crankbaits. And then my wife will send me the promo picture I'm supposed to be putting up, but I didn't. So anyway, Chris Zaldane. Oh, hey, it's your boy. Chris Zaldane just did a video looking at other boats at the elite events. Don't get me started on that freaking video. Some guys had 8 screens running multiple live scopes on a boat, blah, blah, blah. How crazy are the electronics at the BFL versus the elite level?
Definitely. Yeah.
It's less, but it's like, I'd say pretty close.
Yeah.
Sorry. Everyone's got live scopes on their boat. Some guys running 2 transducers. Some guys 3 graphs up front. I mean, you're not going to see like a bunch of 4 graph and 3 graph setups, but they're there. You see it.
You need one.
I agree.
You need
100%.
one transducer.
Yeah.
Like this is, I mean, Patrick Walters is probably the best live scoper on the Elite Series, and he has 1 transducer on this boat. No perspective, just straightforward facing.
Why?
I'm sure they help. Like when you go to smallmouth country, the ones off the back are going to help a lot, I'm sure. But it's like you don't need all that. They're just doing it because they either get it for free or get it at cost or get hooked
or they
up.
think they need it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how many guys on tour have it and don't utilize it?
Right. I mean, they're
the ones
fishing,
that suck.
The majority
they're
of
fishing for their livelihood. Like they're fishing, to take food home. We're fishing for like $100. So
we're fishing to break even.
Yeah.
I'm fishing to hang out at a lake house.
Phil's fishing to drink Coors and it's in a little wooden trophy. But yeah, I mean, I get the elite guys running like the best setups because I mean that's the life now. They're chasing. I mean, they're fishing for a living. That's how they provide for their family. So if they feel like they need 6 deucers, like I don't think you need that many, but I'm also not fishing the elites. So
I think at some point it is like, what is the return on the investment? And 37 graphs, like there's something about having a transducer off the transom to where it makes you more efficient in practice that you could probably get me to convince that argument, because I don't have to get up on the trolling motor to check bait out. I can just quickly, I can drive past all the docks at Lake Norman and be like, boom, boom, boom. These are the ones that have bait under it and go. How much time does that save? There's probably an argument there, but yeah. So 2 maybe for me, not 6. Like,
Well, all you're doing is replacing side scan. So,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen, I mean, I'm sure there's videos of it out there, but I haven't seen what it looks like on those 2 graphs with your mapping in the middle, whatever. Like, how much better is it than side scan?
It's not. I don't think it's better at all. Honestly,
it's actually worse in my
Yeah,
opinion.
you can't go
That's
back.
what, I mean, that's what I was assuming.
For finding structure, for finding fish, like if a smallmouth is 2 feet off the bottom on a sand flat on Lake St. Clair, like you're going to get a small glimpse of them. But I mean, some of you can't even see it on the screen. I mean, Brian Schmidt, his boat, he's got screens all the way out on the sides. Like like your peripherals are not going to see that, and the cone is narrow, so you got a split second and then it's gone. So I've yet to see a video where anybody explains it and it's like, oh, this is how it helps me. But I can't remember who said it. It might have been one of you guys, but apparently Taku was talking about it. He's like, there's no fish in Japan. Like you said that, right, Hunter?
Yep. Yeah.
So in Japan,
Taku is pretty much like we don't have enough fish in Japan for me to fully understand what fish look like on side scan, but I know what they look like on live scope. So like I understand that when he was at a disadvantage, not being able to, because we have a lot of fish here, a lot more fish than they got over there. So I've seen some giant schools on my graphs. Like I recognize what fish look like. So I get it. I get that argument, but yeah, it is getting a little crazy.
To the commenter's initial question, you got your bang for the buck on that one. I would think if you had to pick between getting multiple transducers and a bigger screen size, based on me getting older and probably needing surgery on my freaking eyes, a bigger screen makes a hell of a difference going from a 10, 12, 22 just for separation if you can afford it. Let's see. We got high. Hey, bud. Hey, Tyler's in the chat here. We got scarcity value. The more you have, the less value each one has. With you guys, need 1 and side scan. No, I mean, dude, and you're kicking butt on Lake Anna, and you don't have a 22-inch graph or anything like that. Like it's a luxury, 100% to be sure.
I think something is very underrated. I didn't catch a single fish on my scope during the tournament, which probably hurt me, but what I used to catch my fish, I was, going around shoals, is just understanding contours and my maps. Like I have my Garmin with depth shading, and green is 20 foot and yellow is 10. So I stuck my boat in green and I was casting up into yellow, and that made it easy. And that's how I saved my tournament, pretty much, is understanding how to read a map. Way more than live scope, because those fish were glued to the bottom and I was not going to be able to see them on scope.
Sorry, Ricky. Too many screens can block your view. Well, if you're mad, a 5-inch might do that too. But yeah, 100% agree.
Throw another throwable under there.
Yeah,
I
use a throwable to sit on for tournament blast off, so I can see over top.
That's not the graph's fault, though.
Don't blame the graph.
Yeah.
And at the end of that Zaldane video, you can see, it might not have been that one. It might have been a more recent one. But Davey Height and a couple of the Bassmaster guys, I think Chase Anderson was doing it. They were measuring from like the console up to the grass, because it's getting out of hand. Like they're looking at it for safety purposes. Like people are putting 20-inch screens on the dash and like going like this when they're driving 70 miles an hour down the lake.
Jeez.
Yeah, to see, even like, okay, disregard all the boats. Just think about like floating logs or any sort of debris for that matter. Like it is definitely dangerous. I can see that, but with that much, and up on the bow, like guys are running 3 and 4 graphs up there and the giant trolling motor. It's hard to see over.
And then, guys, keep the questions coming. Again, I'm going to be giving away a gift card to Tiger Crankbaits as well as Jake's Bait and Tackle. Now, the next couple of questions we have really just kind of gets into the tournament, so I think we could just segue straight back to that. So you get up Saturday morning, you guys, and it's absolutely pissing rain. Does that completely throw you guys completely for a loop, or did you already have that planned, just to kind of get us back to that conversation?
We knew it was coming.
Yeah, we all knew that was going to happen.
We were ready. Yeah. We were ready for it.
I don't know if ready is the word, but we knew it was coming. Yeah.
So what adjustments did you make?
I didn't. That was my problem. Because I was on the weird thing is on Wednesday we had a good bit of rain, nowhere near the temperatures and amount that we had on Saturday, but I still caught them under docks with a mag draft, and I caught some good fish. So I was hoping that it wouldn't affect my derby day, but yeah, I grinded docks till about 11 o'clock and had one fish on a jig. So that was definitely not the move.
Wait, are you saying throwing the jig was the move, or just starting at docks? Like you feel like docks?
Yeah, I fished a ton of different baits and tried a ton of different stuff to get them to eat on those docks, and it was definitely not the move.
And that's interesting here because C. Bennett's in the chat. Dude, message me. You just want a gift card to Tiger Crankbaits. For me, Saturday, the fish were acting stupid. Saturday suspended up high. I only had 14, but lost a 5 and a 4. Did you all see any suspended fish sitting over 30, about 10 to 15 feet on Derby Day? And I guess I'm going to add to the question. You guys both have forward-facing sonar. So, Hunter, not to put you under the bus, but what made you not make that adjustment so quickly? Like scan out there and be like, oh shit, this is where they are.
Oh, I was scoping them. I just couldn't catch them. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
I definitely saw a lot of fish roaming, and I was definitely stubborn because I knew that the best chance for me to win was to catch a big bag under those docks. So I was definitely stubborn, but yeah, I definitely saw those fish roaming, and it should have clicked with me that they just moved out a little bit deeper. But I mean, I tried Damiki and jerkbait, all types of stuff, and I just couldn't get them to eat my stuff. But yeah, they were out there.
Matt?
So actually, same deal as Hunter. I started off trying to keep everything the same just to see if that was going to work. It was so dark and like rain's just pissing down, and it just didn't feel right. So like I fished through that first stretch, and then I jumped over to another area that I found fish the day before. And when I pulled up to this stretch of docks, I was probably like 20 yards off of it. Right when I put the trolling motor in, I start seeing them on the bottom leading up to the dock. I'm like, I don't remember that being there. Like, I don't remember there being a set like rocks or anything out in front of these. And they're fish. And then I see one suspended, and then I see another one suspended. So it made sense in my brain at the time that they literally just pulled off with the nasty weather, because I was catching them up. This is the first 30 minutes of the day.
Okay.
Which also was like a huge confidence boost of like, okay, they're still here. And that was definitely a huge thing for me throughout the day, was like, if I just fish where I had been fishing in practice, I know I'll be around fish. Like they're gonna be somewhere in this area, just gotta find them.
What do you think the key adjustment for you is? And I love like when you have multiple people on, like, you know, Hunter, you stuck with something maybe you feel like a little too long, whereas Matt's like in 30 minutes, he's feeling like he's getting the pieces together. When did you catch your first keeper? Both of you. Matt, you can go first.
Maybe like 10 minutes after I moved from the first spot. So we'll say like 30 minutes in. And
Okay.
It was a 5.5.
Well, that calms you down real quick.
It immediately like set my head straight, where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do all day. And I will continue to try other things, but this is going to be my main focus.
Hunter?
Like 10:30 maybe.
That's a grind.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, with docks, like I was like, there's a chance that, you know, they could move up middle of the day. So I kept grinding, and yeah, I picked up 11 and just did something I didn't even do all week.
What was the biggest adjustment to you moving spots? Because you only had one, right, the whole day before you made adjustments?
Yep. Yeah. Caught one, like 2 on a jig. And I mean, I could tell that it just wasn't going to happen. And the reason I did it, I made that adjustment. I ended up running down near the ramp and fishing some shoals and some islands and stuff. But last year, the day before the tournament, we had, I would say probably, Matt, I don't know if you agree, but probably the same exact conditions as we had Saturday. Like it was cold, rainy, dumping. Like it
On
was
Wednesday.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
in the BFL last year, like right
Oh.
the night before the tournament. So
Yeah.
Oh
again,
yeah, 100%.
yeah, I ended up catching them really good on a jerk bait on shoals and points and stuff like that. So I was like, maybe we'll have kind of a similar bite, and ran down, fished some shoals with a bunch of stumps on it, and ended up catching a limit.
What time did you make this move in the day?
I'd say probably 11 or 11:30. So about
And you had one in the boat. Damn, dude.
Such a solid come up.
Yeah.
That's what I tried to do last year. Yeah. I did not do that.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, I'm proud with the finish because I definitely made a decision that, I mean, if I didn't make that decision, I'm coming in with one fish, like no doubt.
No, and that's the thing we got to take away is not just like the place you get, but how you execute your decisions. Like, and the idea that you did scramble and you guts and nutsed it. And looking back at the season in November, that might be the difference in AOI points, that you were able to, do the 2-minute drill and scrape. But then, Matt, we look back at you within, 5 minutes, man, you pop a 5, that calms you down. Does that mean I'm just going to lock in this area and stay, or did you have to make adjustments through the day?
So I felt like I'd be able to rotate through there a couple times and maybe run into a couple more. I could see them, like they were definitely there, but they weren't easy to catch. The first one was like, I absolutely will say that, like literally bombed a Demiki rig on its head and it immediately ate. And I had probably 2 or 3 others that were like super, super interested, but I just couldn't get them to bite. And then I was also in the mindset of I want to jump around a decent amount. I don't want to get super locked in because it's a small area. I mean, it was like a really small main lake pocket.
I asked this question a bunch coming from a Tidal Potomac background. McCluskey might add to this about guarding a spot versus leave it, like staying versus going. If you're on the Potomac, a lot of times if you're on a grass flat, you might just want to camp there to protect it. When you're in a lake tournament like this, it's a small spot. You did crack a 5. Did you think I'm going to leave and come back, or I'm going to kind of keep around here and just hope they come back in? What was your thoughts there?
No, I was totally under the impression I was going to leave and come back. Like I hadn't seen
I just got rejected
in there. I wasn't worried. There was like no one else around me either. So I wasn't super worried that anyone would come in there. And even if they did, I don't know. I'm not real worried about fishing behind someone in that sense. Like, I don't know. But it actually helped me because running around and like telling myself, okay, I know of probably 4 or 5 different areas that I can go where I know that there were fish yesterday and like, they're not going to be far from here. So hopefully they're just like in this scenario, they've just pulled off those docks or like pulled off being a little bit shallower, or they've come out and suspended and they're just kind of chilling. I feel like I'm pretty strong in that sense of being able to catch those fish, especially when I don't have a plan B. Like they're not biting a jig. They're not going to bite a sleeper crawl. They're not going to bite the jerk bait. And I was trying throughout the day. Like I was trying a bunch of different things, but I just couldn't get it to happen. So basically it came down to like, I'm just going to run all the spots I wanted to run, pull off a little bit, see if I see them on the scope, and go from there.
And then, guys, as always, ask your questions. You're going to win a prize. Also, just drop in the chat. The next 2 people to sign up for the Patreon will win a bonus gift courtesy of Jake's Bait and Tackle. We have a lot of questions in the comment section. I'm going to hit one more, then we're going to try to get through the day, and then we'll answer all the questions so we can finish up. Let me pick a good in here. Let's go with... that one requires me to read, so we're going to wait on that one. Let's do this one. Sunday, we had sustained winds. Would you have rather have the rain or the wind? That's an interesting question.
Wind.
I love wind.
Wind is the best.
I love wind.
Jason,
wind, but it's great for the bite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks fishing in it, but on a lake like Smith Mountain, it is important.
It just gets stuff moving. It's basically like creating
it's current.
Yeah, it's current.
Funnels. Yeah, it's
gets them to eat.
They feel way more comfortable, I feel like, when there's disturbance on the water.
Yeah,
like you can get them to chase way farther to the boat, it seems.
Yeah.
Jason, you just won a gift card to Tiger Crankbaits, and then we got let me see, where is that question here? One more to keep up with this. Which where'd it go? God damn it! I'm getting old.
Yeah, you are.
There we go. Yeah, I'm kidding. What bait did Hunter throw after the adjustments?
Old
Mm.
ass.
So I picked up a 110 +1, which I threw a lot during practice and didn't catch a single bass on it all through practice, which was surprising because I caught him so good last year on it. But yeah, picked up a 110 and just went jerk baiting for a while.
How did you know to do that? Or was it just the Holy Spirit talk to you?
I don't know. It's just going off what I caught him on last year. I knew that with how tough the fishing was for me, that I have a lot of confidence in a jerkbait, even though I didn't catch them good during practice. But those fish down there just set up perfect for a jerkbait. That I knew that if I was going to savor my tournament, it was probably going to be on something like that.
Mr. McCluskey, what do you think about the? When we talked about this a little bit on the boat at Riverton, when we talked about the size of your jerkbait and what you prefer, I was under the impression that the bigger the bill, the less action you get out of the bait. So, if you can go with a shorter bill, like, what are your thoughts since you throw a jerkbait a little?
Since talking to Hunter and with his plethora of megabass jerkbaits that we got to see,
He's got a lot.
I've always liked the +1. I don't know if it's so much for the action as much as how quickly I can get it down and keep it out of trees. Like Smith Mountain, yeah, you can fish it down the laydowns like we do at Fountainhead, but most of them is probably like Hunter caught them over a shoal, just suspended fish. But I just honestly like the +1. Like I really do not have many of the regular 110s, just for the sole fact that I'm trying to catch them deeper with it. Smith Mountain, it seemed like the regular one during practice, at least from what everybody was saying and what I saw when I went with Matt, and the fish were shallow, so you could probably have gotten away with it. The action wise though, I don't know. I mean, I've spent a lot of time with the 110, but not so much comparing the regular one to the +1. I know the +2 is different because you just have to fish it different for some reason. Like you can't hit it as hard; it'll blow it out, and you'll get the line on the first hook, and it's just weird. But yeah, between the regular and the +1.
Is that also because of water clarity? Because like you said earlier, the res is more chocolate milk versus Lake Anna. When I fished the first time I fished with Matt, it felt like 20 feet of visibility. It was insane. Does that have anything to play with it?
Not that I've noticed, at least. It's just picking the right color is more important than that, I think.
Right on. Just to finish up the day then. So Matt sticks a 5. Like, how did the fish come? Did you just kind of load the boat up all at once, or was it kind of you had to dink and dunk all day?
It was like every spot I went to, I was catching one. And then I had a limit and decided to go back to the spot that I caught that 5.5 because I saw a couple others floating around. And I want to say I caught one short, and then I caught another keeper that didn't call, and then I caught one that was like 4, and I was able to get rid of one of the smallest fish I had. It was a 1.5 pound. So then I had one more that was 1.6 that I just couldn't get rid of. But yeah, it worked out. And I ended up staying there for the last hour. I stayed there for too long, I think. But I could see them, and there was a good group, not even a group, there were multiple fish on this break line leading into this pocket. I'm under the assumption to spawn, they were up there to either lay eggs or make a bed soon, and they just pulled off the bank, and they're just floating around suspended off these docks, kind of on nothing. There's really nothing out there. There was one big boulder at the back of the creek where it turned into the flat, and there were fish on that, and that's where I ended up making that one last call. But I stuck around there too long. I was fishing for fish that I now think just weren't going to eat. But I had a few of them follow and look like they were interested, just couldn't get it to go.
You put a ton of pressure on yourself, and this is your second year with an adult sized boat, and being able to travel around all these fisheries. What was that when you caught that that last fish to be a keeper. So now you have your limit before you started to call up. What was going through your mind at that point that you had a decent limit for your first BFL?
Oh, it was good. It was at like 11 o'clock too. So I had 3.5 hours to upgrade, and I just felt like, okay, mission accomplished. And it's a good, like, I probably had 16 pounds or something. So I felt good about it, and I figured I was able to jump around some more spots and upgrade a couple times. Yeah, felt awesome, man. But I put the pressure on myself because of how much I fish. I should be able to put 5 fish in the boat pretty consistently. And I think consistency is probably my biggest downfall. And I'm realistic looking at myself as a tournament angler. And like, if I know that, okay, I suck at catching limits, I need to work on catching limits. So.
But you do the hard thing. Like you and the guy that looks like he's in the witness protection program, like you guys catch big fish consistently. And that's a freaking skill and a half. Like, what is it, just a mindset difference that you have to retrain your brain about, okay, I'm going to pull out the Hunter, I know you love this, like the Ned rig, and just finish out the limit. I know, ride or die against it. Okay, easy.
No,
Don't say that
no
again.
Ned rig, no Ned rig. Bad Thomas.
No, I mean,
I didn't think I had a Ned rig in my boat that whole week.
I caught a 3.5 pounder on a Ned rig, so just shove it.
Congrats.
I've never even seen a Ned rig.
you can take that to the house. I don't need that.
It's you live in the Shenandoah. What do you mean you don't know what a Ned rig is?
Never seen one. Don't need it. Don't want it. Don't care for it. I'm telling
I mean,
you,
the big fish were eating bait this big, so
yeah.
Actually, I think the Ned rigs, the TRDs, are probably bigger than what I was throwing, or same size.
No, you
really
gotta go with
like there's no difference between the two.
That's funny because I just got a bunch of custom like little hair jigs in today. But
Those
Ned
probably
rig,
work.
nah, dog.
Those would probably work real well.
they work. I got a buddy who
Yeah.
makes the crappie jigs that
Yeah.
I caught the state record crappie on. That's
I don't know what you're talking about.
he made me some bigger ones that are, I think the ones I was throwing are like 32nd ounce or something like that for crappie, but he made me some bigger ones that are like 3/16, and I've caught some bass on them, and they're tiny. Like they're not even 2 inches long.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because this past winter I spent more time crappie and bluegill fishing than I have scope, and I was using like the Gulp 1 inch, and I was shocked at like how many damn bass I'd catch on those stupid things doing that. And it's like, what the hell is a 3-pound largemouth eating this little thumbtack for? It makes no freaking sense in the world. But then if you guys are Demiki rigging something like that, do you just whip out like a ultralight? Like what the hell do you throw that on so you can feel it?
I mean, I'm throwing like an 1/8 ounce or a 1/4 ounce. So
With a 1/0 hook then, or like a negative 1/0?
It's a one-off hook.
so like a 1/0. I think the one I was throwing was a 1/0. But yeah, I just throw it on I think mine was a 6.9 medium Zodius, and works fine.
Yeah, I just throw it on a 7-foot medium
Yeah.
spinning rod with 8-pound leader. Down here, 8-pound on Fountainhead, 10 or 12 is fine. But
Phil,
Joey
what-
Fujita throws it on 16 with a leader this long and catches 8-pounders. Makes me think, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, but that's freaking Lake Fork, and I think it is kind of like where you're at. I feel like if you're down at like Lake Kiwi or Hartwell or up north, it's probably different than if it's Fork or Fountainhead. Phil, what do you use for your Demiki rig setup?
First time I threw a Demiki rig was on Anna during Thanksgiving. I found a bunch of fish stacked up down lake, and I was catching them on a jerk bait, and it kind of died. Like I was literally watching them bust bait on top all day long, and it kind of died down for a little bit, and I was like, well, let me try a Demiki rig. No scope, no nothing, just straight down scam, buddy. And let's see, I was throwing, I think it was a 3/16 head, either a 3/16 or an 1/8 with one of those little finesse zoom flukes, like the real skinny ones. And well, you saw it. It was in my boat. It was like that little scrounger looking, like it had that little lip on it.
When you tore your
So, like-
seats out, when you found it near the gas tank.
Yeah, it floated back there.
It's all
But that
blown.
little lip catches, so when you pop it, like it kind of swerves out to the side more. Like it just has a little bit more roll to it. I don't remember what brand they are, but yeah, I was throwing that on 8-pound fluorocarbon leader with like 20-pound braid or something, and just swinging it down and running it through areas I knew they were sitting. And I caught them pretty good on that.
We have a shit ton of questions that we have got to get to here. So let's go with, all right, because I'm lazy, we're going to start at the newest and we'll work our way back up, guys, just to make sure. I want to keep these fine gentlemen all night. So we're going to get with Christopher. You just want a gift card to, I think I already did Tiger. Oh, you just want a gift card to Jake's Bait and Tackle. Email me, reach out on Instagram or Facebook to receive it. What's your thought process on when to keep force feeding them that then react? God damn it. What's your thought process on when to keep force feeding them reaction baits or when to go finesse?
Start with reaction. And if you're getting negative, I mean, if you don't have forward facing sonar, obviously it's going to be, let's burn a bunch of water and see if I can get them to bite reaction and then maybe switch to finesse. But it's, I mean, if you're talking reaction, like cranking or something, I mean, it's still going to be hard with forward facing sonar. You're going to have to go back to just covering water, burning water. But if you're talking like jerkbait fishing or Alabama rig, which is kind of the only reaction I can think of for forward-facing sonar at this point with them suspended like they are. I guess a glide bait would be kind of reaction too. But yeah, if they're just acting negatively, just switch over to finesse. Just slow down, pick things apart. And
how many fish do you go through? How many fish do you force feed before you switch?
On
One,
forward-facing
two?
sonar?
Yeah.
Sometimes one. Like if it's a super negative reaction and it's a suspended fish in the middle of a drain going back into a pocket that's there looking for a meal and he doesn't eat it or has a really bad reaction to it, like doesn't follow it at all, like kind of just turns and you can tell that they look at it, but then they just swim off, then it's time to switch. At least in that area.
I had that happen to me. I was throwing a Nico rigged worm and it came up to it and it ran away like it was a burning cross, like immediately turned. And I was like, okay, we're not throwing this anymore. Cause that was not what I was thinking he should be doing. And I don't know forward facing sonar at all. And I knew that. Okay. Andrew said, who that dude on the bottom right? I think he's pretty solid at the whole fishing thing. Rumors have been said. Let's see. You got Ned Rig Mafia right on, live and die with that. Chaz,
McDouble.
Matt, we got Chaz. Chaz says, Matt, TS10 too big for those fish up at SML. I'll be up there.
It's not. It is not.
So first
Chaz,
of all, shout out to Chaz for winning the
Chaz.
Elite 70 Alpha series. Is that what it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge congrats, Chaz. That's sick. On
20
Bugs
pounds
Island
up
of all
shallow,
places.
baby.
Let's go.
No, that's actually the glide I was throwing around and trying to avoid catching them. But I think that if I fished it a little bit more carefully, I absolutely could have caught some fish on it. Every fish that sees that thing wants to follow it. Small ones too, 10-inch fish, doesn't matter. Like they see that, especially in the clean water, they'll come from the other side of the dock to come look at it. It's also one bait that, like, if it splashes near the dock, fish will just come up to look at it, like to investigate. But I do think, I know for a fact that you absolutely get bit on that thing, especially as, I'd say, as spring goes forward.
I was having action on the trout, which is a true 10-inch. The TS10's a little bit smaller than 10, but it's got that tall profile. But yeah,
who the heck makes this? So I can share
I
it
would
on
be
the screen?
throwing it. Fish everything.
Fish, thank you.
Yeah. And 10-inch swim baits are some of the best practice baits out there.
Yeah.
Like the drawing
That's
power
the first
is
time I put a lot of time practicing with it. I got so many fish to follow it, show themselves, that I told myself, okay, I need to take it seriously and focus on just moving fish and see how I was marking every single dock I moved fish off of all day. I think it helped. I really do. I really truly think that it helped. That's the first time I practiced like that.
And so if you guys go for it, bud.
And then
Go for it.
obviously I had Maddie in the boat with me on Thursday night. That's what made it happen.
No,
Yeah.
one fish, maybe. But no, I mean when I first got in the boat and we were idling out of the creek you guys were staying in, you were just like showing me waypoints. I'm like, Jesus.
Oh, I don't think I told you that. I literally marked every single fish that I moved off of a dock.
Mm-hmm.
Probably dumb, but I think it helped.
No, it definitely helps because they get on specific docks. Like there's a reason they're under that dock. I mean, yeah, they could be roaming and then they just pull up, but it seems like if there's something significant under the dock or around it, that seems to be the dock that they get on.
Yeah.
How and then I think I have actually I'll show this before I start talking again. I think Phil, you can yell at me. Is this correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank God it's the right website. So this is the one right here. I think this is the one that just caught it at the res too, because I'm just catching up to everything.
Was it the 10?
9-pounder on the 10.
Yeah. It was on the 10. Oh,
it was on the 10.
That's awesome.
Same spot.
Where the hell is it? Oh,
Leave that fish alone. It's been through enough.
That's fourth time.
Like third time it's been caught, second time it's had to swim back there. It's like, I just did this. Luckily they left it.
That thing's on its last leg.
The fact that it's been a year now and it hasn't gained any weight kind of tells you something.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell by looking at it. Like
that's an old fish, man.
I mean, I would love if Virginia had something like Texas Parks and Wildlife where we could take that fish and get the genetics from it, because that fish is very significant for around here.
Special.
So the one thing I can speak to, the reason they can't is the reason Texas can do that is Toyota actually paid them a F ton of money to rejuvenate the Texas program. And that's why, because they gave them like millions and millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Toyota, Texas would not be what it is. So that's a good, fun fact.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
That's so wild.
I know the lake we can go pull a bunch of fish out of and get the genes from.
Waller Mill.
That's right.
And just Venmo Matt for those coordinates. When it comes to waypoint management, Phil, I was telling you about my system of like day one of practice, I'll mark like a dock in blue. And then
I can't even mark waypoints. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh shit! I'm a professional.
Waypoints on Google Maps.
He just drops a pen.
It kind of sucks, but yeah. No, I literally do stuff like that. I make waypoints on the Navionics app and hold my phone up in my hand while I'm running.
That works.
Someone give this man a graph.
Get it done.
If you guys could donate an old LMS, that'd be great.
I'll give you my 7-inch Lowrance that I've had for 6 years that has all the old Fountainhead waypoints on it.
Let's go.
You can have it.
Dude, that's worth some cash, dude.
He's gonna sell it and just
it's gonna pop up on eBay for like 10 grand.
One of the Fountainhead guys is gonna be like, oh, sick. It's gonna be Matt. It'll be Strykul that buys it.
It'll be Thomas that buys it.
He'll be like, I knew it. I knew he was catching him off that laydown this whole time.
I've seen him catching off that laydown.
Yeah, you probably know every spot he fishes.
We don't see each other very much. Honestly, like we'll see each other some out there during tournaments, but he likes a section of the lake and I like a different section of the lake.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And I don't have a motor, so I'm not going very far.
You don't need one.
You're in a good spot.
Yeah, Phil, we're actually gonna wreck it. We're gonna have a good time. We might not catch anything, but we will have a good time.
For the podcast, first Fountainhead tournament is this coming weekend on Sunday. Yep. So if anybody's interested,
show up and take my money.
No,
I
haven't fished Fountainhead in probably 5 months.
Oh, shut up! Don't be like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know if I can catch him.
I've never fished it.
Well, we got a curveball like you guys got. I mean, we got a lot of rain coming. The lake's blown out. I mean, it's not going to be a scope fest. It's going to be fish on the bank.
So, Chad, I want you to pin a comment. How many pounds will McCluskey catch? He says he's at a small disadvantage.
855.
We got Van Hong. Fanong, any suggestions? I apologize.
Be careful.
For whatever I said.
That was brutal.
Any suggestions for fishing a BFL the first time as a co-angler? Phil, that's all you.
I've never fished as a co-angler.
Oh, I thought you
Rig up
did.
three drop shot rods, 2 shaky head rods, and just throw where he's not throwing.
That's a big thing.
Yeah,
is
that'll
don't
get
go.
you a check.
Yeah.
And
You're not, if you're fishing as a co, your main goal is not to make money. Your main goal is to learn. So just soak everything up, pay attention to what your boater's doing, and use it as a learning experience.
here's another tip. If you can get him to leave his back graph running with down scan and just watch to see if fish run back your way and just drop it down.
There you
That's
go. You see?
another thing you can do. I've never done that. I talk to a lot of people.
If you get a really nice boater, they'll turn their live scope on for you too.
Yeah.
Look at these fish I'm chasing.
Yeah. Hey, you see what's going on up here?
Bet you wish you were up here.
Okay. You will never get this. You will never get this. He cannot afford.
Oh my god. That's so bad.
Oh, it is so true. Let's see, Travis. Some heavy hitters on tonight, and then there's Thomas. I'm just a Ned rig guy. I don't know how to fish. I just talk. That's all I do.
I'm not a heavy hitter.
That's
I just
the nicest
run into
thing.
fish sometimes.
I'm here to drink beer and talk. Let's see. That was a good one. Any suggestions? Oh, I just read that one. That's why I need somebody to laminate this stuff. Where are my new questions? Shit. We said
Carly.
we have Hey Girl, whoever that is.
That's
Hey
true.
Girl, hey. Oh, get in line, Trev.
Key money.
Let's see. Then she said, currently he looks like a hostage. I'm assuming it's Matt or Phil.
That's Phil.
It's definitely me. Sorry, guys. We're running on limited lighting here. It's probably going to cut out any minute now. I can hop off and try to get that better
That's
tighten that
perfect.
situation up. You think you like it?
Perfect.
It's good. When I rerun this thing, I'm just gonna black out your screen. It's just for the redo.
And run a voice mixer over it too, so it sounds like you got like a cartel member on here.
Well, after you and that muskie, that wad of cash are flinging around us the whole damn time. That's not far off.
A cartel member.
Hey man, easy, dog. Don't be telling people how I'm moving.
Did you all
swim baits?
Tell you that's my live scope.
Did you all catch any on the draft? If so, did you all throw it with the Treb harness or the weighted hook setup? That's
What's
10
a draft?
Mag draft.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
That's a new one.
It doesn't work.
No, I had some freestyles that I thought I left at home and figured out later I should have tried to rig those up, but
No, they were absolutely chewing a mag draft.
Yeah. And they're especially because we got into a skipping contest, actually, I think day 2 or whatever. There was like 6 of us on the boat. Because I throw my mag draft on a saltwater spinning rod setup and like a 500 series reel because I can skip it better. This guy doesn't believe that. But how much was your setup to be able to skip? How much was that thing?
That's not important.
Mine was sub 200 for the whole damn thing, and it works perfectly fine for redfish, striper, and largemouth. But anyway, we'll just move on.
I was pretty efficient with mine.
Oh,
You better be.
another viable technique we didn't cover was just bomb casting a Canada just
trying
off
to keep
the
that
docks. And you never know, you might run into a 5-pounder.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, that was day 1, right? Because you were nursing a hangover when you got off the dock and yeeted that.
That was day 2.
No, I was
day 2?
still good. I was still good. No, that was
I guess
day 1 for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was trying
good.
to fix my motor. In the span of 5 minutes, I fixed my motor and Phil lost a 5-pounder off of our dock.
It was incredible.
It was
I checked my phone before I got your call. I had like 8 missed calls. I was like, oh my God, something happened.
What's going on?
You were like, you won't believe what happened in the last 3 minutes.
Sick.
Have y'all seen an increase in the free rig technique in tournaments?
Yeah.
A
You
big
can see it on my
increase.
boat.
I think that a lot more people are throwing it than we realize.
Isn't just the free rig just a glorified Demiki rig style technique? Is like a subcategory of the same technique?
I think it's
Or
like a mix between a Demiki and a drop shot kind of.
Drop shot, yeah.
Yeah, I guess a drop shot. I think it's like a Texas rig because the weight's on the front, and if you don't peg a Texas rig, it can basically do the same thing.
Yeah,
You're right.
But
Yeah, that's the best way to put it for sure.
it's almost like a Tokyo rig in a way.
Mm.
But I've never used it, but I mean, it clearly is getting some bites, and we have somebody who I know well who caught them really good on it last year. So,
Because that's with like the hover strolling thing too. It's like that's really getting close to. Is it its own technique or is it just a subcategory of Demiki rig fishing? I don't know.
I think it's just Mickey fishing.
Ain't
That's
none of
right.
my
It's so
rigs
much
free.
easier to say.
I'll tell you that right now.
Let's see. Okay, we already did that one there. We did that one there. We're getting through this here. Thomas promised Patreon members guaranteed access to Smith Mountain Lake. We're gonna need a shit ton more Patreon members for me to make
Lake
that guarantee.
Manassas, not
Lake
Smith Mountain.
Manassas.
Lake Manassas. Where the hell did you get Smith Mountain from?
Read,
that?
buddy.
No, geez, it's really hard.
Slow down,
Lake
Richard.
Manassas. That's why I didn't drive your boat the other day.
Hey, Lake Manassas, you can get in there, but I ain't saying it's always like kosher.
You
I've
can get
seen
in there
them.
real easy.
Very large fish caught out of there in front of my own eyes. It was sick.
The
As
next
long as
5
I'm not-
members still will take you to Manassas.
I'm not telling anybody what to do, but if you can figure it out, like it's worth a
Yeah,
shot.
no chance.
Yeah, and
There's
then
only 2 days you can go. And I ain't saying it.
so
Yeah.
the next 2 Patreon members that sign up will win a free date with McCluskey and Phil. They will take you there. You might end up in jail, but I guarantee it'll be an adventure.
I guarantee you're going to catch a whole bunch of 4-pounders.
Yeah,
It is
I-
unbelievable.
I've spent a lot of time sneaking into places. So
Hence your screen right now.
yeah,
Probably
exactly.
somewhere illegal right now.
Not even in his own car.
Oh man,
It does-
There's not a lot of water where I live, so you know you gotta get how you live. You know what I'm saying?
Wait on Instagram, Waybe Green 32. It looks like he's live streaming from the back of a cop car.
Yeah, they're hauling me off right now.
Would not surprise me.
I heard about that Manassas trip. Straight to jail.
Let's see. Let me get get
I've
back on
never
track
been to
here.
Lake Manassas, by the way. This is all theoretical.
Mhm.
Checked it out on Google Maps one time. It's pretty cool.
Secondhand information.
Yep, that's right.
Oh my god. Let's see. Here we got. I think we just answered that. Get burning water. No FS. Thanks for following up. Blah, blah, blah. We did that one. Where was that one? Okay. There'll be fountain. Oh, I'll be at the Fountainhead tournament. We did that one.
Who's
Where
going to
the
be at the Fountainhead tournament?
Nasumi.
Nasam
Oh, nice.
Nisumai.
Steven,
Steven, yeah.
Steve Dog.
There should be a bunch of. We should have like 20 boats. It should be awesome.
How many
Yeah.
boats do you usually average?
Last year it was like 13 probably that we averaged, but we've added at least 4 or 5 new boats that I know people have built out boats or just going to show up for maybe a couple, which is normally what happens. It's a pretty big drop off after the spring tournaments normally, but it'll be good. It'll be nice. It'll be good start to the year.
Bassin with Big Malone. Did the dark sleeper? I can read the words in front of me. Did the sleeper crawl get some action on Smith Mountain Lake?
Freaking Thomas
Oh,
Ebonics over here.
I can't read.
You're the
It
only
did.
one wearing
My cups come on
glasses.
it. David,
Man, why we gotta be talking about the sleeper crawl? Why does everybody want to talk about the sleeper crawl? Come on, guys. That ain't nothing. Ain't nothing to it.
no one
Everybody
Don't
wants
shoot
knows
to.
videos with it.
No
There's
one wants to
life.
throw it.
Those lifelike crawl presentations
Phil.
don't get bit. It's all about the jig.
Well, it's funny is like you can mention things. I've mentioned jerk bait and spy baits on the title Potomac for years, and people still don't believe me. So like you can say some stuff, but people will still not throw it.
Yeah. No, sleeper crawl is legit.
Let's see. We got Fish for 5. I got that name right. What do you say to a guy who didn't catch one damn fish in the BFL? Quit. All right.
Could have been
We'd
me.
probably be buddies.
Terrible.
I don't know.
I mean, it would just depend on what you did in practice. If
That
you
was
practiced.
probably the easiest BFL I've ever been into zero. Like the
Mhm.
On High Rock?
that would have been such an like that was so hard. Yeah, that's all right. All right.
All right.
Well, the conditions changed so quickly.
It wasn't safe. I think the water dropped like 7 or 8 degrees overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, and then Fish 5, I was just, but it depends on like, are you a boater or a co-angler? Because if you're a co-angler, dude, I'm gonna say it. People are gonna shit on this. Ned rig, like drop shot, things like that you can just milk bites. I mean, I went into our cove last day when I tucked Phil to bed. I think he went to bed at like 2 and woke up at like 8. And I kept going through the cove and I caught him doing one thing and I kept getting smaller and smaller in my presentation as I went down to like that little bitty TRD that Hunter was shitting on, and I was still catching them. I mean, they weren't always keepers, but you will catch shit if you keep getting smaller. So if you're a co-angler, that's the only thing you really can do, I think, is just keep going down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We're almost to the end of these questions. Thank God. I will not be able to say that name. Did you all Craig?
Craig.
Okay, Craig. Did you all throw the new Craig?
Yes.
I did. I actually was thinking about it on my drive home. I was like, that might have actually worked on tourney day.
I got a lot of fish to react
I really wish I threw it. I didn't think about it.
I didn't get any, like I didn't connect with any, but they were reacting to it on the tournament day.
And then we got Jess, a charity auction on Matt's Lawrence. That'd be a great idea. We could probably
who's
answer that.
the charity?
We could use that charity auction to help with Phil's lighting. And then let's see, I got that one done. And then
We're working on it.
Russ, does McCluskey still use smelly jelly to tame his beard and his hair?
No, we switched it up. Got to keep these secrets, you know.
Bait fuel.
Procure.
JJ's.
I just got to keep the gray out, Russ. I don't want to look like you.
Oh, damn. How old is he turned? Is he 70 now? How old is he?
Getting close.
That makes sense. Yeah,
What's his age?
Yeah, about my age.
They don't mean it, Russ.
And then I'll bang out these questions unless Phil, you want to help out because I know how much you like to finesse stuff. Any tips on fishing a tube jig on the Shenandoah?
Dude, tube's legit. People don't throw it enough anymore, including me. Gosh dang it.
I would go with lighter line, generally speaking.
Yeah. Light line, like a 3 3/4 inch size on like 3/16 ounce head, and just pop that thing around rocks and in the riffles and current. And I mean, it depends what time of year they're going to be in current more as it gets warmer, but
yeah,
throw it on the current seam lines and everything. Just throw it around a bunch. Gosh, I'm having problems.
So I can tag in if you want. The biggest thing I see when you're fishing like river smallmouth, since I'm up here on the Ohio River, is you want it heavy enough that it hits the bottom, but when you pick it up, it's going to drift down. You want it to be natural. If you're throwing like a 3/8 ounce thing and it doesn't call for it, it will get wedged in rocks like all the time. You want as light as possible so that thing drifts down. The coolest thing I ever saw in my live scope this year, that just blew my mind about fish behavior, is the water's like 32 degrees and you throw a tube on the bottom and you have to leave it there for an hour and a half. But if you just drift something past that rock, they will still come up off the bottom and chase that, even though the water's literally frozen. And it's just because they're in that current mentality where they still have to make a decision. Either they're going to eat it or not. You want to play on that the best you can. And the lighter you get it to where when you pop it, it'll drift a little bit. They have to make a decision to eat or not. So hopefully that helps. And purple is always hot. Like purple tentacles on that bad boy is always an absolute hot color. We got 4 more guys I'm going to answer because we're going to be here literally all night. We have over 75 people watching still. It's absolutely amazing on Instagram and everything else. I really appreciate
green
it.
pumpkin or brown?
Brown?
Mhm.
Russ's wife here. He's watching with readers on.
Oh my gosh, it's awesome.
Pay your light bill, Phil. He is literally in the back of a cop car right now.
Look, dog. It's struggle bus out here in Poverty Hollow. I'm trying to not disturb my parents. That's why I'm doing it in my car.
Oh my God. What were you going to say?
Who, me? Once White River sees that intro, Phil's going to get paid.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
no worries. No worries.
Yeah,
We're going to have all the LEDs and all the graphs.
Closing thoughts, gentlemen, so I don't keep you here all night. I guess we can go clockwise. So that means you're up, Hunter.
Closing thoughts. Like, what do you want? What do you want from me?
Pimp out your shit? I don't know. Like,
okay. Shout out to Fishing ProTech. All my BFLs videos will be sponsored by Fishing ProTech. Everything I use all year, whether it's Florida to New York, everything comes from there. Big Bass Dreams, all my gear, all my clothes come from there. And I'm doing a lot more with Intuition Tungsten this year. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming. So pay attention to that.
and then you have a new YouTube channel series coming out soon, right?
Wasn't going to talk about that yet, but yeah, we do. just pay attention to the YouTubes. We got stuff coming. We're actually going to post this year.
Let's go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
No, I get it.
Does this have anything to do with the conversation we had one night?
Sure doesn't. Sure doesn't.
Didn't think so.
100% does.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Does the other person that actually posts a little bit have anything coming up?
Ton of videos, ton of tournaments. Really looking forward to all of it. Mainly all the big derbies. Hopefully might be able to swing another good one this year. It'd be awesome. Looking forward to the Fountainhead derbies. If you guys have interest in coming out to fish an awesome John Boat series on the Occoquan Reservoir, where you will see multiple 30-pound bags caught, probably by that guy down there.
Help pay his mortgage, please, people.
Yeah.
That's not why I want people to come out, but
It's not.
It's a benefit.
It's fun. It's such a fun club. It's the club I grew up fishing. I fish it with Ace every single one. First derby's this Saturday. The schedule for that's going to be at fountainheadbassclub.com.
yeah.
Besides that, shout out to all you guys for an awesome BFL boys trip. I look forward to every single one of these BFLs to go and fish. Also one that's obviously not about any money, because even if you get sixth place, you're still losing $100. That's all I got.
So pessimistic. So pessimistic.
Someone throw up that picture real quick.
I'll find it.
Which picture?
That's from last year when I was trying to keep track of all my tournaments, and I forgot.
He kept track for one tournament, and then he was like,
That big red number.
Miles
Pong.
Miles says, Miles, any of y'all fishing any Toyota series this year?
They
Probably
would immediately
not.
tell me to leave.
I would love to fish Toyotas. I hate one-day events on a fishing moral level. I just think after fishing college, so many multi-day college tournaments, I realized like that's the shit. That's where it's like you really get to like metal meets the meat. You can crack them good. I've cracked them good one day and then suck the next, and you don't do well. And it really rewards you to make changes the more days you have to fish. So I do want to someday fish like a Toyota series level thing, because I think that's truly a reflection of your skills as an angler versus a one day. So I wonder how many people will piss off in the comment section with that.
Angler's Choice has a interesting format like that this year, where Matt, you can expand on it, but 2 different tournaments in one weekend, so kind of get to.
It is, and it's. I guess you could look at that either way, where it's like in your normal multi-day derby, you have day 1 and day 2, and it's a cumulative weight. But the way English Choice does their events is pretty neat, and it's really just to like make sure everyone gets a shot at fishing it. So if you're busy on a Saturday, you're obviously not going to fish a 2-day derby. You stand no chance. So they do 2 one-day derbies back to back. Usually I'll go fish both, and it's like, do bad on day 1, at least you know what changes to make on day 2, and hopefully you can still cash a check, or even potentially win. It's pretty cool.
That's freaking awesome. Phil, what do you got coming up?
Oh, bunch of work, and hopefully I can get out with you and the other boys more.
Yeah, you need to start fishing some tournaments, bud.
Yeah, it's coming.
No,
It's
you
coming.
don't.
It's coming. Graphs are coming. Maybe a YouTube channel's coming. Oh, shout out to my sponsors, Coors, Zen,
Duck it.
paper towel companies, Duck It, Gambler Boats. Couldn't do it without you guys. Cody Jenks, blasting the tunes. Yeah, I couldn't have a better lineup. Really keeps me going out there. But yeah, I'm gonna be
White
around.
Claw.
White Claw. Russ, come down, Russ, come down. Let's go. Let's hit the river. You've been talking about it forever. But yeah, I'll just be having a good time this year, and hopefully you'll see me at least one more time on this show. And yeah.
One more time. What the hell does that mean? Where are you gonna go?
I don't know. You never know with me. I can be anywhere.
All right, Mr. McCluskey.
Yeah, I mean, congrats to both of you guys on a good finish this weekend. I know it didn't work out as well for Hunter, but you made a good adjustment and caught him, which is awesome. And Matt figured it out, and thanks for making me an honorary member for the weekend, I guess. I was only there for one night, but it was a good time hanging out with you guys and finally meeting Hunter and Phil.
Yeah, we had a blast. Awesome.
I want to the one story that we never talked about was when you two first met and you saw Phil's boat. And Phil, I think you know what I'm going at. And you saw his graph. He's like, "Oh, cool. Is that live scope?" And you're like, "No, it's not." He's like, "Oh,
I was like,
you don't believe it?"
that's 2015 downscan, buddy." He said, "Oh no, baby, what is you doing?" I said, "Yeah."
He caught a bigger fish than I did, and I was looking at him for the 2 hours I got to fish.
Man.
Oh my god!
Off a lay down too, or it wasn't even a lay down. It was like a pocket, some shade.
But he was there, and it's bigger than anything I've caught down here. I can catch 3-pounders, 3.5-pounders, but the 4-pounders have not been good. But speaking of not posting, my partner posted the Fountainhead Bass Club record video this morning. So if anybody wants to check that out,
link. We'll put the link in the episode description. Of course, I link everything in the episode description on the re-upload here. And then, are you be fishing any BFLs this year potentially?
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get in. I'll fish some in the Shenandoah division. Unfortunately, I missed the one that I'd been practicing for the last month, but maybe Smith Mountain on April 1st is going to be all spawning fish. So it's going to be very different from what I've been fishing down here for a while. But that one most likely, and then Potomac twice, and then the James twice, I believe.
Mm-hmm. All title. So that's going to be thrilling. I think
the James. The James is fun. Potomac's not so much.
Everyone.
James is cool.
How have you ever fished the Potomac?
Never.
Why are you bitching about it? You haven't been there.
My problem with the Potomac is I live on one of the best tidal fisheries in the world. I don't
second best, but okay.
I'll fight you on that one.
I have stats. Okay.
One that's worse than where I live.
Fight.
Yeah. It's just the Potomac is more. Let's go sit around 20 other boats. Like the James, you can run into a creek and have it all to yourself, and not see another boat all day, and still fish tidal fishery and grass. And you don't agree, Thomas?
No. James is like one of the only places around you can run 200 miles.
Why the hell do you have to run 200 miles though? Like that doesn't. I mean,
because you spent $80,000 on a bass boat, and you can.
What the hell? You didn't spend that much on that damn thing.
That doesn't matter. I'm not saying I'm doing. I'm just saying that it's the implication.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like fishing hard structure on the tidal fishery, and after April on the Potomac River, that's done. For the most part.
100% agree with you there. I think there's better, and this is a great fight in the comment section. I think there's better hardcover fishing consistently on the James versus the Potomac. Potomac definitely is I think that's why there's more grass guys that win on the Potomac from Florida than you see on the James. 100% agree with that.
I've done all mine in the grass.
How many of you won?
5 or 6. Maybe
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Thought the number was going to be lower, but that makes sense. Yeah, I
in your place.
Okay, I was supposed
Thomas
to say this.
just loves being a minority.
I am basically a minority. Oh, wait, you really think? All right, hold it on. So you really think that the James is better than the Potomac, Phil?
100%.
Without a doubt.
What are you going for? Like,
Weights
Potomac
statistically
is-
drop off on the
all right,
James more than the
the
Potomac.
one thing that's
No,
cool. The
I
only
do.
thing that's cool about the Potomac is because you can realistically catch 1,000,000 3-pounders and
Mhm.
nothing smaller than that. That's the
That-
only redeeming quality. But like they said, I don't want to have to sit in the same grass patch as 20 other boats to do it. Like, I would rather take my chances at the James and, bet on myself than
So what you're saying is that the Potomac's a better fishery, but you just feel shy around other people,
it's
and that's
not
why
a
you want to go
better
to the James.
fishery.
I
You
think-
can
I think
catch
the
8-pounders on the James.
I think the Potomac's average size fish is bigger, probably.
Agreed.
But I do think that the potential for that 6, 7, 8+ pounder on the James and the Chick is way higher.
When's the last time it took 27 pounds to win a tournament on a Potomac?
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't judge the quality. This is my opinion. I don't judge the quality of the fishery by the top, but the bottom. So the Chesapeake Bay, great place. You can catch 30 pounds first,
Zero.
and then the 10th person will catch jack shit. So in theory, are you going to say the Chesapeake is good because you have a chance of catching a 30-pound bag? Whereas if you're in 10th place, you're catching shit. And that's kind of my thing there is the James River just drops off more, where when you watch it, the big time elites and stuff, when they go to the Potomac, it's like everybody has it's like almost like Lake Champlain, which is insane for the hell of the fishery, where it's like the same shit all the way down.
Mhm.
That's my point. It's just the fishery health. I think you will 100%. You will catch a bigger bag at the James, but I think the weights will drop off way faster. So you have to get that big bite.
There's a lot of small fish in the James, but I don't know. The style of fishing on the James is just way more enjoyable than the Potomac for me. I'd rather skip a wacky worm on the cypress tree than throw it 60 feet out in front of the boat,
We can have a whole grass
I feel like there's just so much more skill involved with that. Like on the Potomac, you can just sling something out as far as you can and let it sit out there. And lucky you, a 4-pounder swims by and sees your Senko sitting on a clump of grass. But on the James, you got to skip something up underneath the cypress tree and make a good cast to get that fish to bite. And I don't know. It's just
it's all different type. Like Potomac, you got to sit in an area. James, I'll fish 1,000,000 spots in an hour.
I'm going to make sure I upload this to the Potomac team script. This will be fun.
I'm very vocal about this. I mean, I still love
you're
fishing those tournaments, but it's just, the Potomac, I don't know.
Oh, no, you're good.
Well, I mean, as a co-angler, I've done really well. In the Potomac teams, we've cashed some checks, but I don't know. It's just after fishing Fountainhead and seeing how much better a deep reservoir can be just with fish quality. It's like coming down here to Smith Mountain. Like, it's not even comparable. But I got us way off on a tangent as we were trying to close it out.
No, that's what I absolutely love about this. Because, like, again, you and Matt, and I guess the majority of you here, except Phil, like, you made a lot of your money looking at fish, deep, clear water. And I get this a lot when I bounce between, river rat guys and then like the Billy Coles types, and both completely hate the way the other one fishes, and they don't think there's a value in the way they do it, which is fascinating to me. And when it's like, all you got to do is camp in Mattawoman and you catch fish. It's like, well, there's a quality in it. Because if you look at, I got to interview the guy that won the last Toyota there. He moved like 80 yards in a day. And he was able to pick that thing with a punching rig, and he could tell because of the different vegetation types. And so it makes me feel like there's a quality in understanding how to camp and pick apart. And that's why Florida guys are so freaking good at picking areas apart. But on the flip side, they suck doing like the res. They cannot run a lot of spots. And I think it's just a cultural thing that it's hard to do both. You're either run and gun, David, Brian Thrift, or you are going to camp. But it's hard to see the Jacob Wheeler types that can literally do both when needed.
Mm-hmm.
So
we're blessed to have both.
Yeah.
Hunter down at the James, and then us up here by the Potomac, and Matt down by the James. It's like we have two awesome tidal fisheries. As much as I don't like the Potomac, but it still is a good place to go fishing.
I think that's interesting because But I think that's why you have so many river rats that I don't think will ever make it outside of the area, because they are really good on the Potomac, but you put them on Smith and they get scared of the clean water. Like, and that's a big issue. But I know there's
you got to be able to do both. Like
yes.
When I'm fishing here, I love it, but I mean, when I'm at Smith, like I can completely switch gears, and I love doing that. Like you gotta be able to love it all.
I 100% agree. I was trying to close this out. Shit. Where was the sponsors?
We can go all night.
Yeah. How many people you still got watching?
We have 60, and Instagram we have 5, so
We're
64. Wait, 65. I just did that math.
That was a bad one.
So good at math.
Hunter,
So good
I
at
don't.
math.
Hunter, who in your opinion is the best now on the James?
He's the best on the river.
Ray Hogg. Right now, it is very difficult to beat Ray Hogg. Yeah, he's
Hell of a
definitely one
name.
of the best right now.
Is that your username or is that actually a person?
I'll steal that as a username. Are you kidding me? That's sick.
Go look up his stats. You'll see what I mean. But yeah, I think he had 27 pounds last year, had 28 something this winter. Like the dude catches them, and he's super versatile. And yeah, he's one of the best right now, if not the best.
Shout out to Ray.
Chris, Ferroia. Live. I live. Thank you. And you. How many beers have you had tonight, Phil?
Like 1.5.
I live.
Started, buddy.
I live in the Upper Delaware and retiring soon. If you had to choose between Lake Anna and Smith Mountain Lake, what would it be?
Smith Mountain
Lake.
Don't even think twice.
Smith Mountain, there's no question.
Don't even think twice.
Yeah,
Like fishing wise, after this trip and after fishing there a few times, like in the last year, I don't think there's many other places that can compete with Smith Mountain. You have options to catch smallmouth, largemouth, big striper. It's a beautiful
Smith
lake.
Mountain had a hydrilla explosion, it would be one of the top 20 lakes in the nation.
So the only contrarian thing I'll say to that is I 100% agree it's the best lake, but it is on the ass end of nowhere. If you're around Lake Anna, you're right to Frederick for all the electric motor only lakes, the res tournament, or you can go to Richmond. It's kind of centrally located versus Smith. It's just and then Kerr, I guess is what you have. But 100%
he's in Delaware. I mean, he's making a trip regardless, so you might as well go the extra whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, once you're in Moneta, you don't need to leave.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area. It is. The lake is beautiful.
Mexican restaurants are good.
Yeah, they are pretty
Mexican
good.
restaurants are banging.
Dude, we tore that bathroom up. We're not going to be allowed back in there.
All right.
Great music too. Only restaurant I've been in that played Dolph.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy.
So sick.
I saw some things in that bathroom.
Well, flush, damn it.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my God.
No, that poor, we're not getting our deposit back on that house, but it's a nice house.
Yeah, the house is wrecked.
What'd you guys do after we left?
We had to clean
Don't ask that question.
Thomas hit the bathroom one last time before we left.
I mean, at that point, there was no return back. But you didn't wake up till like 10, so it didn't.
No, I
did some cleaning.
saw them out the door.
Yeah, he did.
I woke up and I made a video of you still sleeping.
Yeah, because I woke up early to see the boys out. So they had a good exit. They felt supported. You were in bed.
And then who got you a coffee in the morning?
Supporting the boys, which
Who got
I
you a coffee?
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I woke up at 1 a.m. and I hear Mark Zona downstairs.
I fell asleep to the sweet sounds of Bass and MLF and Mark Zona.
It was so loud. I thought Mark Zona was in our house.
He was. That 80-inch was cranking.
That TV was massive.
Huge.
That's
I
a
need
good
one now.
scope next year.
Yes.
When did you throw up? Was that night 1 or night 3?
That was night 1 or night 2. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Bassin with Big Malone, the one on the upper deck at Mangoes.
Yes.
That's the place we went.
I
Yes.
feel that like that's right.
It
Yes.
was called. What was it? I forget what it was called. It was some Mexican place
Well,
name.
It's right on the. It's on the west side of the Hales Ford Bridge. Like as soon as you go over it.
Yep.
It's called like Cancun or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that place was freaking good. Let's see what happened to that damn question. I just saw it, so I'll just ask it. What is your favorite speed for throwing the mag draft?
7.
There. You mean like retrieve speed or real speed?
Yes to both.
I guess gear ratio.
Yeah, 7. Every mag draft size has a speed that it works, and you gotta find that sweet spot. Because if you're not,
Oh no.
it's gonna blow up.
Phil, remember when I gave you?
I'd throw it on a 6.5, so I can
Remember
just crank it faster. I don't have to. So I was throwing it on an XG, and
Was that the rod and reel that you destroyed when I forced you to throw the 8-inch and you skipped that thing into the side of a $10,000 boat? $100,000
no,
boat?
that was my swim bait rod. And I was not having a fun time.
Yeah, the XG is definitely too fast. I'd rather slow down a little bit. So I think the HG for the mag draft is perfect.
Yeah.
Most of the glides I like the HG for.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Oh yeah, glides. Yeah. Higher
Yeah,
gear
glides.
all the way.
All right, and then we got this guy, Yak Fishing. Hey guys, what type of line and what size are you using for a 6-inch swim bait? Let's go with MC first.
The 6-inch mag draft, I'll go down to like 15, but 17 is the perfect number for me.
17.
Yeah, for the 6-inch. On a glide, 6-inch glide, I might throw 20, depending if I just have it on the rod. But 17 is probably your bread and butter.
I would concur with that 100%.
You should ask Phil.
Phil?
Well, I mean, yeah, assuming he's talking about the mag draft, yeah, I'm 17 fluorocarbons, the deal. Glide baits, like I said earlier in the podcast, play around with what you have because different glides respond differently to different line. Generally stick to fluorocarbon. I've thrown a lot of glides on copolymer just because I didn't want to spend as much. You can make that work too. Especially if you're throwing them shallow and you're not trying to sink them down on live. But yeah, like a 6-inch, throw it on like 18, 16. But like you really need to play around with it because like the S waiver, they're like 15, the 168. I've had the best results with that. And a rod that's parabolic enough to not yank the hooks out of their mouth whenever they start shaking around like a madman. I've lost a river tournament throwing for smallmouth. Lost some of the biggest smallmouth I've ever seen in my life because I didn't have it paired with the right rod, and they threw that thing. And just now, this is smallmouth. Largemouth, I don't have as hard of a time, but with smallmouth, I'm throwing that 168 or whatever 6-inch glide I'm throwing. Generally, it's that Taxi Shad, the TS6. I'm throwing it on a heavier composite cranking rod. Like I have the St. Croix Mojo Bass Crankster or whatever it is. And I don't even know if it's rated for like DT10s, but that's what I have the best luck with because they cannot break the tension on, like they can't get any slack with it no matter what they do. So that works for me. I don't know. That might not work for other people, but that's what I recommend.
Or you could be like me and throw it on a spinning rod.
Or you can throw it on a spinning rod.
How about no?
You really, Hunter, what is your hate with my setup? You were so mad at me, like on a visceral level, that I was skipping a mag draft on a spinning rod. Like I've never, like that was like some weird like Lebanon Israel hate right there. Like it was pure.
That was the grossest thing I've ever seen.
What? People do it in saltwater. Okay, you know this guy called Nolan Miner? I mean, he might be a little mad at you for that because he catches them on big poppers and spinning stuff.
Nolan can catch fish on a stick that he finds outside.
Mm-hmm.
He's the exception.
Oh my God. No, that place is freaking awesome. And are we going to try to get the same house for Smith again in April? Like, what's the plan there?
I think it depends on numbers, but yeah. Yeah, we might have to have McCluskey and Phil snuggle on the couch, but we can make it work.
It was a long couch.
That was actually a really long couch.
You and Thomas shared a nice snuggle on the couch. I saw that.
I mean, I wasn't planning on it, but that's kind of how it happened.
It looked like it just happened.
Your feet smell so bad, but that's just a random thing.
I bet they did.
That's the least surprising thing I've heard on that.
They were sweating out all the booze.
Oh my God. Let's see. I got Brandon. Let's see. Thomas, are you going to fish tournaments? I don't know. One day. Once I get some more sponsors to pay stuff. You really don't want to watch me fish, honestly. Let's just be real. Just
sorry, Charlie.
Let's think about that for a minute. Like, do I want to stay married? Oh my God. I could just pawn her off to someone else. I guess that'd probably be the safest thing to do. Who's this new comment here? Oh, holy crap.
That was quick. With the quickness. Hold up. Hit me.
I was cuddling Phil one night. I think it was 2 nights. Was it 2 nights or one night? It was just one.
Had room. We had plenty of room for Jesus. All right, you can go on Matt's Instagram and look at the picture.
Yeah,
I did get
no contact.
That was, to be fair, Carly, that wasn't the worst thing. I think all 5 dudes shared the same bar of soap over a week, so I think that was the most intimate thing. Not in the same shower though. Let me make sure that's that's clear.
That was just Phil and Thomas.
At the same damn
bullshit. You stole it.
But
didn't you call your co-angler from the toilet, Hunter? Like that night?
No, you
never
just
heard that
made
whole
that
conversation.
up. I was just in my room.
HPS fishing here.
Yeah, a couple 5s.
This is getting out of hand.
Couple 4s.
No way, is McCluskey a singer? I saw that comment. Pull it back up. I saw that. Nothing gets past me.
I'm sorry, Tim.
All right, McCluskey. Let's hear the pipes. Come on, McDouble.
Oliver North can keep that song. I may have sang it in my truck a few times, but tonight.
McDouble. Are you just gonna randomly just do new McDonald names for him every single?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Phil kind of looks like McLovin.
Yo, let's go. I should get one of those McLovin fake IDs.
We need to get a pirate flag for Sunday. That's what we need, is a pirate flag for the back of our boat. Yeah,
for sure.
We do. All right. That's awesome. We are out of what?
What a pop.
Thank you.
We're sitting right at 2 hours.
Yep. And I'm going to shut this bad boy down before it goes way off the rails. My medication is wearing off. What the hell was I supposed to do for the sponsors I do have?
Yikes.
Here we go. I know, right? So anyway, these were the colors that won for Tiger crankbaits. They are the where are the colors? There. They are Hot Cherry and the Crab. This will be some of the baits that you can get with your gift cards. You can also, if you're a Patreon member, you get 10% off all of your orders to Patreon as well. I think I already did closing thoughts for everyone. So sweet. This will be re-uploaded tomorrow morning after I edit it and make sure it doesn't get dinged by the old YouTube algorithm. I gotta go back to this. We are done for tonight, but we might be talking a little bit later. We'll see you guys next time on Fishing the DMV. Bye.
White River
to Fishing the DMV with your hosts Thomas Ahrens and Jared Mounts. Fishing